I think Square Enix was almost bought by Microsoft, and something happened, and things went south, and that's the reason you're not seeing Square Enix games for the most part come to the Xbox platform. I want to point out before I start this video, I have no concrete proof that any of this happened. And most likely it's wrong, but we on this channel, and you guys know, I like to speculate. I like to give my own opinions, and this is a conspiracy theory nonetheless. But I've made so many of those videos at this point, you guys know how it is. You guys know, if you've watched this channel for any kind of amount of time, you know that when it comes to Square Enix, I'm very big on the brand. I'm very big on the Final Fantasy brand, even though that I was a little underwhelmed when it comes to 16. I love Japanese orientated games, and Square Enix, you can argue they're second to none. Now, here recently, Square Enix has been very anti-Xbox. No one knows why. It just randomly started happening, and people say, well, it's the relationship that Square Enix and Sony have, and that's how they've nurtured this, bond with them. And I even speculated that maybe Square Enix was going to make themselves more approachable for a company like Sony to be bought in the future. That's why they cut the western parts of their division out. But after this FTC thing, I actually have a different take on this. Now, everybody sit down, get your popcorn, because this is going to be intense. For a while, you guys know, when it came to Final Fantasy, we haven't really seen a lot on the Xbox platform. We've seen them come to the platform through Game Pass and stuff like that, but I would honestly go out on a limb and say that the brand Final Fantasy is new on the Xbox ecosystem. We did get 13, 2 Lightning Returns. We didn't get 12 back. And that, for the longest time, that was the case. But then they started coming to the platform in big waves. Now, these rumors are going around saying that Square Enix, Microsoft wanted to buy them in 2019. It looked like they even had like a little spreadsheet. Looked like it was approved and everything in terms of approaching Square Enix. But I don't think there's a lot of information besides that. So what I personally think happened, because all of a sudden Square Enix is anti-Xbox, and this is, I get it. What I'm about to say is going to be so far-fetched you guys don't have to say it. But say it in the comment section below anyway. Call me crazy. But that Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show or something, whatever it was, I remember seeing how many Final Fantasies would come to Game Pass, and kind of confusing. And then what happened? We ended up getting those to Final Fantasy. And I think it was kind of a little bit, false advertising to a point, because they acted like they are coming. It took years for all of those games to come to the game, to come to Game Pass, as well as come to the Xbox platform with it. Now, the reason I think Microsoft approached Square Enix and they had some form of deal continuing is because there's a couple incidences that I've always been confused about. Example 1, Final Fantasy VII remake exclusivity. We knew that was a year or two, but I'm pretty sure it was a year. And I remember feeling weirded that partnership was extended for no reason. And that would have been around the 2021 mark. So keep in mind, 2019, they reached out to Square Enix. There's probably a good 6 to 8 month gap there that we can't account for. Also, if you guys remember correctly, there was a specific time where they were reaching out to Square Enix, and everyone was very vocal, including Phil Spencer, that they were bringing Final Fantasy Online 14 to the Xbox platform. And that's a very successful Final Fantasy game. Very successful. Never came to the platform. Weird. Completely weird. Now, you can make an argument for the Outriders that, maybe they would never have gave Outriders if, this went through. And that's valid. I'll give. That's why I said It's about a 30-70, I would say this. But then I feel like what ended up happening is somewhere in 2021, early 2021, they started talking to other companies. And I think maybe there wasn't nothing on paper. But I do think Square Enix was in the process of being bought by Microsoft. Maybe other companies, but maybe Microsoft was offering the most money. And then what ended up happening is Activision, Blizzard, King. I think Microsoft was approached by them, or they approached them. I think Blizzard approached them, and Microsoft put a hold on all other acquisitions that wasn't already going through. Obviously, at that time, I would say they were probably reaching out to a bunch of people. Keep in mind, they're reaching out to all these companies at this time. Now, I don't know how many they actually sent a letter of intent to buy. But I do think Square Enix is one of them. Because if you look, in 2022, they separated the Western Division, ironically, after the Activision deal was announced. Now, like I said, this is probably not, and I know people in the chat going to clown on me, because this is giant conspiracy time. But at the same time, there was a time where games were coming to Game Pass in bulk from Square Enix. Xbox was getting a lot of the games that wasn't Final Fantasy VII Remake from Square Enix. Now, obviously, if they made those deals years ago, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. And then you get like Octopath Traveler. We're not getting the sequel for some reason. I don't know how that happened. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense, that makes, like, business-wise, especially some of Octopath Traveler 2, which is a smaller title, would make more sense to put that on as many platforms as possible. Why is it everything but Xbox? Unless there's bad blood that Microsoft and Square Enix were probably in long talk about potentially buying the Square Enix brand. And then what ended up happening is, after they had to pull back because Blizzard, Activision, and King came up with Activision, Blizzard, King came up, they decided that, they can't buy two companies, because the lawyers probably knew that they were going to have a huge uphill battle buying Blizzard, Activision, and King. So if they were trying to buy something like Square Enix with them, it would probably be almost impossible. Like I said, I know this doesn't make sense. Especially you have stuff like the Outriders Game Pass deal, which I think that might have been before all this. I don't know. Didn't really look up. This is just my raw thoughts. And then you look at something like Final Fantasy, Crisis Core coming to the Xbox brand. Definitely weird. No one's denying that. No one's denying that there are a lot of sprinkles and a lot of holes in this story. But I would say there's a lot of things that make sense. Like the Final Fantasy 14 not coming to the platform. Octopath Traveler 2 not coming to the platform. It's weird. Final Fantasy 7 Remake's deal extended, but no one ever knew, and it just never came to the platform. It's like there was something else that was going down, and they upset Square Enix because they didn't commit. It's just some food for thought, guys. It's some food for thought. Now, obviously, this is pure speculation. I've said this multiple times in this video, but I'm going to say it again. There's a good chance that none of this is real. But at the same time, it would make sense. Because people say, well, Addict, the Xbox ecosystem doesn't buy games. They don't buy Xbox. They don't buy Japanese games. Why would they put it on there? For money. And Microsoft, to this point, they would give them a bag just to have the games on Game Pass. Like Octopath Traveler 2, great game to have on Game Pass. Not on the Xbox, not on Game Pass. It just seems like to me there's something more than just they feel like they can't make that money back. It feels like there is a little bit of beef between Square Enix and Microsoft. And keep in mind, Jez Corden I'm pretty sure he's the one, I ain't going back and looking, but I'm pretty sure he made an article stating that there was some bad blood between the two. And he didn't really go into a whole lot of detail what. And I'm not saying we all know what's up. But I am saying something about this we're missing information, and this might be it. You know, with this FTC thing going on, I think there's a good chance that Microsoft was in long talks. Maybe, you know, they were coming to an agreement on the price or something, or maybe they were waiting for a specific time, and then they were going to sell to Xbox. Now, obviously, there's legal issues. It comes to can Microsoft even buy Square Enix? I don't know if they're able to. Maybe they were going to find a loophole to do it. Maybe since they own Tango Studios, they can make it its own corporation that's based in Japan and then buy Square Enix through it. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I'm just telling you the speculation to me. And to me, something drastically changed between the relationship at Square Enix and the relationship of Xbox sometime between late 2019 and early 2022. Something happened in that duration, that year and a half time frame, because they went from getting all their games to none of their games besides Final Fantasy Crisis Core. But put in the comment section below how stupid I'm sounding, because I need to hear it from you guys, because I'm convinced something's up, man. Maybe it's not this. Maybe Microsoft was supposed to offer them back. They never offered them. But something doesn't make sense why Square Enix games, and only Square Enix games for the most part, aren't coming to the Xbox platform. Definitely in the comment section below what you guys think about this. Like I said, I know it's crazy, but I'm me. Peace.